Cookies, 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 cookies. I know there's a cookie in here somewhere. Some cookie. It's the last one. Holy crap.
You're sharing that, right?
I am now.
What are you doing?
He's gonna eat the last cookie.
It wouldn't nothing. What did you see? He did it.
So, you guys, you know the rule. If you eat the last cookie, you're the one who has to make the next batch of cookies.
I'm okay with that.
That sounds cool.
Sure. You gonna show us how?
Sure.
Awesome. Do you want part of this cookie?
No, that's okay. You're making more right away.
Okay. Let's eat the cookie, eat the cookie, eat the cookie. There you go. Half for you. Nope. Half for you. And half for me. Welcome to COVID Cuisine. If I can do it, you can do it. Baking edition, myself and Wee Beast. Today we are going to be making Miss Christie's
Spicy oatmeal
Raisin Cookies with Wee Beast and Tazzy. Tazzy, Wee Beast. And I'm being forced to make the cookies because we ate the last cookie. And Miss Christie caught us. And so, what terrible punishment we have to have by making some cookies. And these are my favorite cookies. These cookies, Miss Christie made them. I think the first time she made them that I had them was with one of my many fundraisers that we did. Every year I have the Big Daddy Tazz and Friends fundraiser, and she made these cookies, and we took them in, and it's been a tradition now that the acts have these cookies. And Matt DeCero, McNally, and Rob Pugh, and all the guys, they just love the cookies. And you will too. You got to make them yourself, but you're gonna like them too. Miss Christie's behind the camera. Say hi, Miss Christie.
Hello.
So these cookies, they're spicy, but they're not. They're just because of the spicy. It's because of the cinnamon and cloves that are in it. Okay, you know what was in it? Mm-hmm. Cinnamon, cloves, raisins, oatmeal, brown sugar, and other cookie stuff. Butter. There's a lot of butter. There's a lot of butter.
Well, we're going to make a double recipe today.
Oh, so a single recipe then?
Well, for you, yes. They don't last long.
You need a strobe light to see me eating, and then you just see it like. C is for cookie. Remember? No. That's how I eat the cookies. Oh, how are we starting? What do we have to do first, Miss Christie?
Well, the first thing you want to do. So, this double recipe requires 2 cups of butter.
Okay.
So before we put the paddle on, we might as well pop the butter pieces in there.
Okay.
And I took the butter out of the fridge a couple hours ago, and what I did is I cut it into quarters because it softens a little bit faster that way. And for ease, I also cut each of those quarters into a half, just to make it easier for it to fit into.
Math.
Yeah,
Quick.
there's 8 pieces of butter there.
73.
Half of a quarter is 73?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus 2 fish.
and a bag of shrimp. Thank you, public school system. Okay, so it just needs to be softened butter.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be liquid butter.
No.
And then we've got this thing. What is it? I feel like Aquaman. I feel like Aquaman, except for this is what Aquaman would look like if he ate as many oatmeal cookies as it did. It's also like, who's the coolest kid ever? Bling, 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 bling. So it's broken. So this is the paddle?
That is the paddle.
Okay.
No.
Oh, this thing? Okay.
Yeah, it will. Actually, put the first before you.
Did you not hear what she said? She said put the butter in.
Oh, put the butter in before the paddle?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Blah. You love me? You love me, though? You love me? It's probably this is how real bakers do it.
Sure.
Blah. Okay. Put it in
You
there.
might as well just keep that handy. You can use that to put any dirty stuff on top of. So.
And now I'll put this on.
Now you're gonna put the paddle on.
Well, it doesn't fit in there now.
You're gonna smoosh it. The butter is smooshable. You can smoosh it down.
Well, last time I went to smoosh something, you're like, why are you smooshing things? That was the cat. But anyway, what we... Okay. And just put it, and then it just turns on like this?
Yeah, you'll have to turn it a little
There you
bit.
go.
and-
Ta-da!
yeah. So now...
It's off center though. Oh, I get it, because
Yeah.
it goes around.
Right. So now you need to raise the bowl and the handle on...
Oh.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, let me wash my hands because I've got butter gunk on them. Butter gunk. So this is just obviously a mixer or whatever, right? That's all.
It's a KitchenAid.
KitchenAid.
mixer, yeah.
Well, I know it's a KitchenAid, but is it a mixer? Because doesn't KitchenAid make other things, or is
Yeah,
it
it's a mixer.
it's just
yeah.
a mixer? Okay. Suits you. You're saying no? Okay, no. Right now, everybody else that's watching this, do it. There you go, kiddo.
No, I think if he was doing it to you, they'd be like, yeah, do it. But
Okay, listen,
this way around.
This is a conspiracy. Nothing. I was figuring out how I'm going to put you through college. Okay, so raise this like this.
Correct. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So now we want to start basically breaking up the butter a little bit. And so you're going to turn the mixer on. And
I kind of figured that's what we were going to do when we put this in. It'd be funny if you're like, okay, now put it down. We don't need the mixer. We're just squishing the butter a little bit.
So
there's a stick shift on the side here.
yeah.
Turn it to what? All the way to 10?
Let's go with 2. No, let's
come
go
on.
with 2.
So that's annoying.
Yeah, we got a little squeaky. It's just the way it sounds.
For me?
Ours squeaks.
What always squeaks?
It always squeaks.
I think we need a new KitchenAid or louder voices. This is why you can never make cookies in the silence. We always know when you're making cookies, eh?
Okay. Do you want to stop it, please? Okay.
You mean stop this or just the jokes?
Maybe a little from column A, a little from column B. Okay. So to help,
Did you just smell the butter?
No, I looked at.
to help punch a bunch of holes into the butter, we're going to add the sugar.
Okay.
Okay.
So
we're gonna-
brown sugar or the plain sugar?
We're gonna start with the white sugar.
White sugar. Okay.
Yeah, because it is looser than the brown sugar.
Okay.
So we need to put in a cup of white sugar.
A cup of white sugar.
The,
Okay. So
the
this
white
is half a cup.
sugar, yeah. And you can just dump it right into the bowl. You don't need to sprinkle it. You don't need to add it slowly. You just dump it right in.
So you dump it right in the bowl. That was about this much too little. A little bit more?
You should usually with baking you kind of want to use exact measurements
Okay.
as exact as possible.
Okay. That's good.
There you go.
Okay. So what we want to do, kind of, is when you do that, you take one of these knives. This is what Miss Christie showed me. And you fill this up like this. Oh, got a big old scoop. And then you use this end and go. There. Because I often don't do that. Okay, so let's get up sugar.
So we're done with the white sugar, Kyler. You can take that and set that off to the side.
Good.
Okay. So the white sugar's in there, and
Yep.
we can turn the mixer back on.
Okay, everybody cover your ears. Do you want me to put it to 2 still? This one goes to 11.
Start with 2. Anytime you've
goes to-
added a dry ingredient, you kind of start low, and then you'll build up speed as as it starts to incorporate, because otherwise you'll just fling it all over the place. Now you can bring it up a little bit. There you go. It's good. How does it look?
Looks like butter with sugar in it.
Okay, so now we're going to add in the brown sugar, and we need 2 cups of packed light
Okay.
brown sugar. So
2 cups of packed.
yeah,
So we'll just use this.
is
first.
your easy? Yeah.
That's where I hid the bread. Whoa! Happy Easter! Okay, so pack it right in there.
Yeah, I usually get a nice heaped, yeah, and then just smoosh it down with my hand.
Your hand?
Yep.
Ugh, I don't want cookies anymore. Okay.
if it doesn't smoosh in there, you can just scrape off whatever's. You don't want too much. You just want it lightly packed, Tazzy.
Okay. Oh, lightly packed?
Well, like,
I don't.
and scrape off the top because
Well,
you're getting a little.
There.
You're using methodology I don't use.
You mean gorilla hands?
Yes.
Oh, you
You need four of those. Yes.
So one.
You just use 2 of these. But...
Oh, it's easier to scoop because the container is short.
Container's smaller.
It's easier to fill.
So just. Is that better, lightly packed?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need to compress it into a diamond.
They're a girl's best friend. And they're necessary for baseball.
Not this girl.
No, yeah, you don't really want diamonds and stuff like that.
No.
You'd probably like other things like me to be at work. That's 3, right, Kai?
Yep.
I'm glad you're here counting. Holy, this is almost all the sugar we have.
I have another bag in my.
Well, we should probably do triple bags then.
Let me feel that before.
Okay.
You could pack it a little bit more like that.
Well, this is the last one.
That was just an excuse to get my hand. You can put an extra. Yeah, there you go. That'll be good.
Scrape it off, or that just put it all.
No, put it all.
Oh, so she says lightly. Oh, you're licking your fingers. That's
Yeah.
what.
That's why she had to do that, duh.
Oh. Let me just see.
Be
Oh,
so,
that's too much sugar.
so much awesomer if I had butter on my fingers.
Butterfingers. Okay, now I'm gonna show everybody that I'm at least washing my hands after I lick them. It's funny during this COVID pandemic, that, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. People are buying, toilet paper. Remember that everybody just buying toilet paper. I bet you how many people were like after the first week of really washing their hands properly. We should have bought lotion. Holy smokes. There we go. Okay. So that's 2 cups of, do we need more brown sugar after this?
We do not need any more brown sugar.
We do not need any more brown sugar. Bread in here. And that bread is to keep obviously to keep the brown sugar from becoming one solid thing of brown sugar.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Got it, Kat? Okay.
So you can turn the mixer back on. We want to basically incorporate this and kind of whip it almost a little bit.
Okay.
You want lots of holes punched into the butter because that's going to create kind of
Gonna make it like almost foamy, like that's what, not foamy, but I know what you mean. You want lots of air,
Yeah.
aerate the butter, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
And the butter is going to change color a little bit, not just because of the sugar in it, but it's going to kind of it's going to lighten in color.
Yeah. It's going to be okay. I know what you mean, right? It's going to be.
So it's going to need to mix.
I'm excited to turn this on. What do you need?
It needs to mix for a little while.
Okay.
So.
So turn it on.
Turn it on.
Okay,
Yeah.
everybody at home, do this. Will you turn it up higher?
Yeah, you can turn it up higher.
Higher?
No.
It depends. Does it look like it's going to come out of the bowl or
Yes, it's already almost coming.
no? Okay, then no.
I have faith. Oh, there's a thing you could put over top of it right there if we wanted to.
Yeah, that'll come in handy later.
Pardon me?
I said that will come in handy later.
Okay. How long does this have to go?
When it looks lighter
Okay.
and well mixed.
Okay. Should we maybe stop so that people don't have to watch us do this forever? Or we can keep going?
Give it a little bit and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
It's jiggling.
Mom's jiggling. Well, I shouldn't have it up there. That way. Oh.
Okay, let's take a look at it.
Want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
Do I have to bring this to you?
That might be the easiest, is just to bring the paddle to me.
A paddle to you? Okay.
Yeah.
Here, grab me a plate there. Side plate. Thank you, sir.
Here, I got it. I can bring it to you.
You bring that to Miss Christie?
She's just gonna eat it.
No.
She just goes, oh, no, no, no.
I'd say a little bit longer.
Okay.
Told you she eats them.
Okay. Almost cranked it to 8. Peanut butter. A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This thing's going for a ride.
Yeah, it tends to walk a little.
We'll be putting this recipe, we'll add it as a PDF to the, so don't worry about writing down all the ingredients and stuff. We'll put the recipe on as a PDF and include it. If not, we'll put it on somewhere you can find it, probably.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you're making promises I can't keep. I don't know how to add a PDF to.
No, I think we just take a picture of it and put it in the end. I don't know.
That's not a PDF.
A PDF is just isn't a PDF just a picture of the, it's a PDF is just a picture, right? That's all a PDF is a picture. Or a JPEG. Or a picture. We'll take a picture of the PDF or of the JPEG that we took, and we'll just send it to you. BigDaddyTazz2Zs.com, and get a hold of us, and I'll put a thing there for recipes, and you can figure that out. I don't know.
Probably good, Tazz.
That's good enough.
Yep.
Can I go up a little higher just for one?
Sure.
Okay, that was ridiculous. That was like going too fast in the car. You're like, slow down. No, I don't want you to slow down. I can go a little faster. Oh, okay.
We'll enjoy the silence for a few seconds.
Okay. Ready? In with the butterflies, out with the bees. In with the butterflies, out with the bees. And out with the beasts. Out with the beasts. There we go.
Okay, so now we are going to add the eggs and the vanilla.
Wait.
And so your best bet with adding eggs to something this dense is to add them one at a time.
Oh, one at a good time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I like to do is I like to crack them into the bowl first, and that way if you get any eggshells, you can fish out the eggshells before you add it to the bowl.
You've seen me crack eggs before.
And you can add the vanilla in right now.
Okay.
You don't have to wait on anything. You can,
How
because
much
it's such a
vanilla do you
little quantity. I want you to put in 2 capfuls, please.
2 capfuls.
Which is about approximately 2 teaspoons. No, not that cap. That would be very, very expensive and very overwhelming. You want to fill the cap there, Kyler. No, that's good. That's more than enough. That's.
I don't fill the cap.
It's no easier to do it into a teaspoon.
I always try to move the stuff that I've already used
out and away.
Okay.
Yep.
Do these need to be beaten before they're put in,
No,
or be rated, or?
No, they don't need to be.
Okay, so do I put it in while it's mixing, or just put them in?
Well, you can add that one while it's not mixing.
Okay. Burke. Okay,
And then
we need we just crack one more at a time, but we need 3 of them. Okay, and then just start mixing.
yeah, you can keep it on a low speed. It's good.
Like that?
Yeah, usually the stir part works well for that one.
I didn't even notice.
You don't have to walk it over every time.
Okay.
You just,
Add another egg?
yeah, if you have another egg, you can add another egg.
Okay.
Anytime it gets kind of mixed in, you can add another egg.
You need 2 more.
Okay, 2 more. 4 altogether?
4 altogether.
Yeah, 2 more.
You said 3.
Well, 3, but then that one. Well, I meant 3 in total.
Oh, 3 more.
Yeah. That's a little.
Are we gonna use it?
Uno mas seafood plate. I'm excited. These are my favorite cookies. When it's Christie, when I do something really good, she makes me these cookies. So we haven't had these in 4 years. So the magician Matt DeCero, who is one of the greatest comedy magicians, not only in our country but around. He loves these cookies, and so Matt, we're making these for you, but you don't get any. Looks like it's all mixed in, Miss Christie.
All mixed in? Okay, just stop it then.
Can I turn it up really high?
No.
Can I have a puppy?
No.
Okay, I thought I'd throw that in there.
All right.
Puppy in the mixer?
No. That's what you get when you have us together.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to focus.
Okay, so now we're going to look at the dry ingredients. Quite often, most recipes will tell you to mix your dry ingredients together in a separate bowl and then add them a bit at a time. But flour does not, in stuff like this, you shouldn't overmix your, like when you've added the flour, you don't want to mix it too long or too much.
It actually changes the texture of the cookies and stuff, right?
Yeah, it'll make them tough, and we don't want tough cookies. So what I usually do, and because especially since this isn't our last set of ingredients to go in, after we put in these dry ingredients, we still have to add in the oatmeal and the raisins. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the flour, baking soda, cinnamon, cloves, and salt all into the bowl while it's stopped right now.
Okay, and then just mix it at once.
Yeah.
Because I remember you saying that, and I didn't. It's not that I didn't believe you, but it was. I made the pancakes the one time, and I over stirred all the ingredients, and they were completely different than they were. More like edible hockey pucks, really, right? They're just so dense.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay. So start with your flour. You need to put 3 cups of flour into the mixing bowl.
Okay. We have 3 knives. I'm not allowed to use knives. You do? Okay. So that's going for. Where did you just find this recipe, or I know you've tweaked it a little bit too, right? And you've tweaked the. You tweak the recipe to make it sort of your own, as we do with all our recipes, right? Mm-hmm. Everything's eventually a happy experiment. I figure. I don't think we've had one that wasn't. Oh, maybe that dill soup I made the one time. What you said? Oh, it's good, and I'd already thrown it out.
I found
3 cups, right?
I found it on All Recipes, and the original recipe calls for butter and butter flavored shortening, but I never have butter flavored shortening on hand, so I always just put in butter, and it works just as well. And I use this same recipe to do my oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. So instead of putting in the spices and the raisins, I just omit those and put in, like this recipe calls for. A single recipe of this calls for 1 cup of raisins. We're putting in 2 cups of raisins.
That's right, because we have raisins.
Well, because this is a double recipe, so we'll be adding at least 2 cups of raisins.
Then take back what we said about having raisins. We're not raising any alarm here. I try to be current. That's that double raisin joke. Do you know that? It's totally a double raisin joke.
So instead of putting in,
You're not even reacting to that, eh?
so instead of putting in the raisins and the spices, we put in chocolate chips instead. So if we were making a double recipe of this, we would add in 2 cups of chocolate chips instead of raisins.
Okay, now it's your time to focus. I don't want to get mixed up because next thing we'll have chocolate chips in here.
That would be delicious too.
Yes.
I don't like chocolate chip cookies very much.
Oh, I do.
I like your
That's
chocolate
your
chip.
fault.
I do.
How's it
I
my
do.
fault? You made my problem. No, it's not my fault.
No, it's your fault.
Okay, so we got
You
the.
can have them, you just choose not to.
That's why you guys get all the other ones, and then the raisin cookies are pour moi. That's Spanish. So
That's actually.
now we've got the flour in here, and then we need the baking soda.
Yeah.
Even though we put it in a baking powder container, it's actually baking soda, so that we just sort of keep it fresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How much do we need of that?
You need 2 teaspoons.
Okay. Was that a teaspoon?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show you a trick.
You show me a trick. Oh, fancy! Did you see that?
Actually, you should bring that over and you can show
Show
on
us
this
your-
side.
Show us your trick.
Christie taught me this.
You're too
Is this
too close.
okay?
You
Is
got to
that
be
good?
closer to the. Yeah, you're fine there.
And that, ladies and gentlemen,
The 2
is why
teaspoons.
is that why this is called magic baking soda. It's a trick.
Sure.
And in our second official language, Cutter, how do you say that?
Poudre à pâte magique.
Speaks French.
Except for he just called it baking powder.
Oh yeah. Soda, pat magnet.
Magique.
All right. Now we need.
You love me.
We need a teaspoon of salt, please.
A teaspoon of salt. Is that a teaspoon or a tablespoon?
It's the same one I just used.
Is that a tablespoon or is that a teaspoon?
It's a teaspoon.
I thought the teaspoon was that big.
I think you're thinking a tablespoon, maybe.
Is this a tablespoon? Because
No.
that's what I've been using when I'm. Oh no. Oh, okay, yeah, because there's the tablespoon.
Correct.
It's actually a drawer spoon because it goes in there. It never makes it to the table. How many? Just 1 teaspoon of salt?
Yep.
Okay, we'll put the salt over on that side, Mr. Mister.
It goes
No.
right here.
Oh, it goes right there. Okay, put it away.
So, a good plan when you're baking stuff like this, and you notice how I'm telling you to add the spices in last,
Yes.
is because they use the same teaspoon measure as our salt and our baking soda did.
Oh,
So
you
instead
don't-
of, because we use this to, our salt jar to do our pasta or whatever else we're making,
Unless
we don't
you're
want
my
to.
cardiologist, that we don't have salt in the house at all. We have no salt. This was not salt.
No butter at all either.
There's no butter. There's no
There's
salt.
nothing in there.
It's not in here.
It's all empty in there.
Just the raisins and the oatmeal.
Yeah, that's it. It's raisins and oatmeal. That's all we're having. So when I send this to my cardiologist, it's going to be, hey, so we're going to put in the salt. We're going to put in the oatmeal. It's just be completely different. Just more oatmeal. This is the butter. And they'd be like,
We're just gonna
Hey,
put
all-
a censored across your mouth.
my doctor says I have a big heart. Enlarged. Enlarged is what he says. So, okay, so now we put in the spices. Are we saying?
Yes. Yes.
Doesn't matter.
How much cloves?
So we need 2 good teaspoons of ground cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of ground cloves. Cloves tend to be very strong, so I stick very close on the cloves.
Yeah.
But the cinnamon, I usually do a nice heaping teaspoon, or like
Okay,
I
come on this
heap
side so
my
they can see that.
teaspoons.
Show them, beast. Oh,
So
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, like that,
2 of those?
because I like lots of cinnamon.
Holy,
Cinnamon makes it good.
holy. That's. Show Christie again before you. That's a little bit too much, I think.
No, that's
Oh.
usually I usually put in lots of extra
Holy
because
smokes.
I like cinnamon. So, and
Okay.
I know we all like cinnamon.
You've never complained, so
No,
Okay, and
she's
then.
doing something right.
And cloves, you said just.
just try to keep it fairly close to the the teaspoon. It doesn't have to be like
Yeah.
scraped off exact.
And just 1 teaspoon?
Yeah.
And we've doubled it already?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a half
Oh,
teaspoon.
that might be my cardiologist. This is why we're not a professional. We're not a professional kitchen or anything.
When somebody starts paying us to make these, then they
I'll
can.
shut the phone off when you pay us.
Yeah.
That's what we do right now. That phone needs to ring, okay? That phone needs to ring. Maybe it's a gig for me, and I can do it over the internet because that's really easy for a comedian to do. Hey, how are you guys doing? I hope you're all having a good night. And maybe it's just me looking back going, I hope they're laughing.
You've had lots of practice with the stories.
It's just, you mean lots of people just staring at me?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Miss Christie, isn't that nice that you're here? So now, do we mix this? This is the dry ingredients now, or do we? Have to
Yeah.
add
So what I don't know if this makes any difference at all, but before I start mixing with the mixer, I kind of try to mix up those dry ingredients just a little bit. To spread around like the baking soda and the salt and the spices throughout some of the flour that's loose in there, and so you can just use your knife here, and just kind of mix it around a little bit so that because we're not going to mix it for very long, because again we don't want tough cookies. So
we have 2 tough cookies here. You can tell by our hats.
Yeah.
What tough cookies?
And this is one of the reasons why they tell you to put it into a separate bowl and mix it up first, is to do this sort of thing, to make sure it's
just so it's mixed, right?
Yeah.
So that you're not getting a big chunk of the stuff and then another big chunk of other,
right.
Yeah.
And
but pretty much the same reason anybody mixes it.
Since I tend to be the one who takes care of a lot of the dishes, or through my whole life, whenever I've baked, clean up is usually my job.
Yeah.
So I tend to try to avoid dirtying extra stuff if I can. So this is my step to avoid dirtying another bowl.
We do the same thing. That's why we never use utensils.
Uh-huh.
Right? Yesterday was not good because it was soup. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Soup works well in a mug.
It does work well in a mug. Exactly. I don't even use the mug. We just straw. We have 3 straws in one bowl.
Oh boy.
Well, you guys are going. I'm going. Okay, so what?
You want to raise up your bowl again?
Raise up the bowl.
And because we just added a whole whack of
just put it on stir, right?
But, okay, wait, stop.
Oh, okay,
Listen to me first.
I bet you this is where this comes into play.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we just put in a whole whack of really dry ingredients.
Yeah, because nothing can come out here.
Well, it will, but you're going to hold your hand a little bit over top of that.
Okay. That seems
so there's still going to be stuff that's going to escape, but not as much as if we have the lid.
I see a design flaw here. Why didn't they just...
Well, yeah, it's not designed for the way Christie likes to bake. So.
Okay, so you turn it on to...
Just
stir.
stir.
Yeah, stuff's coming out.
Yeah, it will. That's fine. We just don't want all of it to come out. And as soon as you see it start to mostly disappear, it doesn't all have to disappear. Just mostly disappear, we want to stop it.
What do you think Kai mostly disappeared?
Okay. Now we're going to add... You just leave that on there. Now we're going to add in the oatmeal.
Okay. How many cups of oatmeal do we need?
We need 6 cups of oatmeal, and we're going to add them in as quickly as possible because, again, we don't want to overmix our flour in there. Okay?
Oh, that's why that's there.
Yeah. Oh, you can do it. You can.
No, that'd be easier.
Okay, do that.
The funnel type thing. No.
The funnel?
You could probably put in two or 3 cups before you get it started.
Okay.
And so we're going to end up with our dough almost climbing out of our bowl because the double batch is almost too much for this size of bowl, but we're going to do it anyway. Yeah, you can turn it on. Yeah.
It's going to come out the side here, though.
You can kind of... It's fine.
Okay.
Just don't get your hands close to the mechanism, please.
Try to get it in there. There you go. How many do we need?
We need 6 altogether.
So that's 3 so far? That's 4? Okay. You got it? Okay. The last couple were... There you go. Okay.
Alright? Okay, now you can stop it and get your raisins ready to pour in.
Okay. How many raisins? How many pounds of raisins?
At least 2 cups.
At least 2 cups?
Yeah, this is raisins and the oatmeal aren't part of the science part of the recipe, so it's not going to impact the texture if you are a little over or a little under.
Yeah.
So
Can I add them all at once?
I would yeah, you can try.
What
Yeah.
I'm saying is, should it be mixing while I'm adding these, or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So you're just not going to mix it for very long after you add them.
One thing that you've taught me is the difference between the science of the baking, and also the flavor of the baking.
Mm-hmm.
The science is what makes it. I'm going to just add a little bit more.
You could probably add all that's
All
in
this?
there. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't think you can have too many raisins in oatmeal raisin cookies, can you?
I got these from the backyard. The bunnies leave these.
Okay, not with the banging, please.
Okay.
All right.
Turn it on.
Yep. If you remove your hand, people will be able to actually see how full the bowl is. So that's probably good. You can stop.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. I was getting scared. It was like a camel nose going, oh, hey, why don't you pet me? I got okay. Take this off.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can see how full our bowl is.
You're gonna want to
See that?
It's good stuff.
Oh, I can just take the whole bowl. No, I can't.
Yeah, you can. You're gonna need to.
Maybe we'll turn it this way. So it
You need a spatula.
spatula. It's therapy.
You gotta tame your. You need something pretty sturdy.
that metal one.
The
This one's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Want a wooden spoon even?
The sturdy green one is in the dishwasher,
here it is.
I think. Yeah, that one will be okay.
No, I'm assuming we have to
Yeah, you kind of have to
get this.
dig out.
Help me! I'm coming in! Don't worry! Don't move! Don't move! Here I am! There you go. I got you, pal. This is lots of cookie stuff.
So once you have enough to hang or grip onto, you can take the paddle off of the.
I'm just going to try to get it so I can actually push the paddle down a bit. Okay, let's give this a shot.
Yep, there you go.
There we go. I'll scrape this all off.
That's easier to do once you actually remove the bowl from the mixer.
Oh, okay.
So lift forward. There you go.
Aha! Okay. Let's get this out of the way. Excuse me, Pat. There we go. We'll just go like this.
Should I just put this in the sink?
There's good stuff on that.
Lift that
So
off, but
yeah, that's what that's for.
that's close enough to being clean, right?
That's when you bake the cookies, these are the parts that you get to lick off. Technically you're not supposed to, because you're not supposed to be eating uncooked raw egg or
Right.
flour,
Well, you can eat-
flour
I mean-
but
Athletes, whoa,
Drink wine.
athletes eat raw eggs all the time.
well, they're supposed to be finding pasteurized eggs to do that, to do it safely. But
Yeah. Anyways,
so anyways, yes. So
it's,
you know, we're not saying you should.
don't ever
We're
do
just
this.
saying we do.
That's what I'm saying. And now, that's contaminated. This is awesome. I love the fact that my fingers are dirty. Okay.
No.
Want any? No? Okay.
Okay.
Let me just get my hands rinsed because I've been a goof. Can you,
Kyler, you can grab the parchment paper out.
see? Let's just give this a quick, the counter a quick wipe down.
Why don't you just use not the towel, but
Gotta wipe this towel's gotta be, I wipe stuff on the towel earlier. Hey, Mr. Man. Hey, Beast.
Mhm.
Can you, on the floor there? I guess I'll wait till you're done. There's what I hope is a raisin on the floor.
on the cat turd.
Okay, perfect. Yes, put that over there so I won't wipe my hands with it. Okay, so we're gonna get our cookie sheet
Yep.
and we're gonna put parchment paper.
Yep.
Baker's third best friend.
With butter and sugar being number 1, number 2.
And wine. I think sometimes wine is
Not for this one.
not for you, but I mean. Oh, there we go. Yes, we're gonna need we need to cut that a couple more times, I think, but not for sure. We're gonna need the parchment paper again. So we
No,
have
we
the.
won't. Nope.
Wait, we're gonna put all the cookies on here.
Yeah, you just use one sheet through the whole baking process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because you
it's
can just take them off and reuse it.
yeah. I reuse it over and over and over.
Smarty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you're going to need a couple big spoons.
Oh, this is where I don't excel.
First, maybe just because you want to check and make sure that everything at the bottom was mixed in.
Okay.
So if you kind of scoop up and under, make sure it looks like it's
Yeah,
a
looks like
homogeneous mix.
Yeah, looks good to me. What do you think?
Yeah. Everything's mixed in.
Okay.
Looks good.
So, how big of a blob?
Like a nice,
Big.
yeah, about that.
Okay. Blob.
Usually I use 2 spoons. I grab a nice mound with 1 spoon and then I scrape it off. Yeah, kind of smush it together a little bit with the spoons and then scrape it off.
Okay.
And so we're going to put 12 on our cookie sheet because they spread out.
Okay. You want to do this, Mr. Beast?
Good.
Okay.
For now.
Oh man, I always.
Too close together, I think.
Just,
I'm gonna put. Oh, we'll put 4. Yeah, 12. Okay, I was gonna do 3 rows of 4, but we'll do 4 rows of 3. There you go.
correct, yeah.
This cookie will be mine. You make it look so easy, Christie.
Well, I've been making cookies since I was about 8 by
30,
myself.
30,
So
41 years. 38, 200. I don't know how old you are. You don't look a day over 70, so I know that for sure. This parchment paper, they should make parchment paper that's not slippery on the bottom part.
what I do to try to keep it from wiggling around too much is first I usually, before I put anything on it, I try to kind of crease along the edges a little bit.
Okay.
But then once I start spooning my cookies, I do the 4 corners first, and it'll help keep it from moving around.
Okay, so do the 4. Okay, I'll do that in the next time for sure. 4 corners.
Or you can just do it now. There you go.
There you
Actually, if you want to put your bowl on the
go.
opposite
Other side so we can
yeah.
see that. Let's let's move this stuff out of the way. There, how's that? Too close?
It's good.
Now we want to keep them fairly the same in size so that they bake, all of them bake evenly.
Yeah.
Ish, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to, anything that's
Yeah, we
too
don't want like, okay, the next cookie's this one. Why don't we just make one giant cookie? I guess you could do that. My mom used to make some cookies where she would, it would just be a big sheet and then she'd cut the cookies, her date squares and stuff like that. I mean, that's why they're squares, I suppose. Go ahead.
Okay.
Kelly had to go pee. He didn't want anybody to know, but we're almost done this part anyway. Christie does this so much faster, but it just takes some practice and things.
Yeah, I don't fiddle with the dough like you do.
Oh, I thought it had to be squished and stuff. Okay, well,
Well,
then.
I kind of squish it as I'm getting it out of the bowl.
Stop laughing. You married me.
And then I used, how the last thing that we made, the muffins,
Yeah.
you were scraping off with the front side of the spoon. Again, you could use the back side of the spoon to scrape it off.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it takes a little getting used to. I'm used to over here. I'm used to. Stay in your own area. Everybody, self-isolate. Social distancing. Social distancing, everybody. Social distancing. There we go. My cookies are social. I think these are going to be massive cookies.
It's good.
Okay.
So we don't flatten them at all. They're going to flatten out.
They're gonna go to. They're just gonna rest, right?
Right. If you pre-flatten them, I think the edges would probably cook too quickly.
They get
maybe.
super crispy, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
we want a nice soft cookie. So
There we go. This guy, my OCD is really driving me nuts. So this guy's got to come over here a little bit. Not that far. Stay there. Okay, there we go.
you have to be smarter than the cookie does. You don't need measuring tape. You don't need a measuring tape.
Okay.
Okay.
This one's. Look how big this one is compared to that one. Is that going to be?
It's going to be fine.
Okay, good.
Okay. So now we want to put them. Our oven is preheated to 350 degrees. It's only been warm for like 47 minutes. It's fine. It's fine. But anyways.
Should we open it up and let some of the heat out?
No, it's fine. We're going to bake these for about 10 to 12 minutes. It really depends on your oven. So set your timer for 10 minutes and check on them and see how these ones, you want to make sure you remove them before they look baked. They're going to look kind of...
Well, we'll show you what they look like.
Yeah. So
because when you take them out, they're a little bit still glistening and stuff. Right?
Yeah,
you don't want them to be dry because otherwise they're gonna get. They cook a little bit more once you take them out.
Yeah.
Right.
We like soft cookies.
Yeah.
So we tend to be on the less brown side when we pull them out.
Still fully cooked, obviously, still fully cooked and stuff, but just not.
Yeah.
They're not dried right out. And then we immediately put them in the freezer and we eat them frozen.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm going to throw these. What is this at? This is at
350 degrees.
350 degrees?
Yeah.
So put it on the middle rack or top rack?
Top rack, please.
Okay, top rack. Okay.
Yeah.
Throw it in there, 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And then put them for 10 minutes, and then we'll check them again, and then maybe a couple, what did you say, 10 to
12 minutes.
10 to 12 minutes. We'll check them at 10, just to err on the side of caution. And then, so you don't have to watch me clean up, we'll come back and see you in a couple minutes. We beast?
Yeah.
It is almost time for cookies. Hardly wait. The house smells. Oh, it smells like cinnamon and oatmeal, and for some reason, oh, beast! Cookie. There we go. Pull this out. Oh, you know what? These actually look done.
Oh yeah, those are actually looking farther done than what we normally would pull them out. It might have been just because the oven was hot for such a long
We
time.
had the oven up for the 40-some minutes that we were shooting.
Yeah.
Okay, so just put these strictly
Nope.
on it.
You
No?
gotta let them sit for 2 minutes on the
Okay.
pan because these are a softer cookie. These ones might be okay to scoop right now because they're a little bit further done than we would normally be pulling them out. But so they should still look a little bit wet on top,
Yeah.
and these ones are a uniform brown all over. And so these will be still delicious and wonderful. They're just going to be a little bit crunchier.
Crunchier. Yep.
And perfect for dipping in milk, actually.
Only in the middle.
So,
Okay.
Crunchy on the outside.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
That's pretty good.
So,
Okay, so you said 2 minutes? Will you wait for 2 minutes?
actually, because even these ones are cooked a little bit longer, maybe just try to move one and see if it. Oh yeah, those
Oh,
you
these
can
go right in my mouth.
totally scoop those.
So we'll then put it on a cooling rack.
Yeah. So
these ones are okay.
why don't you grab the tray with your oven mitt and bring it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love this oven mitt, I think it forgets that it's an oven mitt. It's hot.
You get to set it on the other cooling tray while you're scooping.
You know what? You're right. Once these cool a little bit, there'll be more room, right, on the tray? Because there'll be some that are eaten already.
Usually, when they cool, I just kind of stack them on top of each other. I also tend to put more onto the cooling trays than you do, so.
Okay.
But
So just then repeat until there's none left in here, right?
correct.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and then I'll load this up again, and maybe if we we'll show you, we'll pull one out that's a little bit, we'll put them in for a little less so you can show them how wet they should be on the top, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Yep.
Probably, well, it won't seem like any time to you, but for us it'll seem like 8 minutes, maybe 12. I don't know. You don't know either, because it'll be like that. Right, Beast?
Right.
So, we just took a little gander at these ones, and they look like they are done. A little bit wet on the top a bit. Still, see, that one, a little bit wet, a little bit shiny.
But not quite as brown as the other
Not
ones.
quite as brown as the other ones.
You
right?
want to hold one of the other ones? One of the cooler.
Okay. So these ones are a little bit more brown around the edges. And these ones are. So we'll let these ones cool.
Yep, let those ones cool. So we took them out at 9 minutes on this one. So, and we're using a different butter today than we normally do.
Yeah.
So it might have a slightly different fat content, which could change the way your cookies bake as
Yeah.
well. So usually I use the
Lactania.
yeah.
I remember. I can't remember what we use. Normally we use. Boom, boom. Here they are. These ones. It is Lactania. We use Lactania, or however you say it, Lactania.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
right now, with COVID and everything, butter and flour and yeast and everything is at a premium. So we couldn't find any of that. I just grabbed whatever looked like butter. It could have been cheese. I don't know. Maybe. But I'm going to tell you right now, Miss Christie, cookie for you.
Yes, please.
Beastie.
No, thank you.
Okay. There you go. I'm going out there. There you go. There. Oh. There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Awesome. So we'll put this video up for you, obviously, because if you're watching it, we've already put it up. I don't know why I had to say that. If you need the recipe, go to Big Daddy Tazz, 2zs.com. You want to laugh, go to Big Daddy Tazz, 2zs.com. You got little kids. There's a lot of me reading stories here through this quarantine and the self-isolation. Big Daddy Tazz, 2zs.com. So we'll see you a little bit later. Hey, here to let you know, if we can do it, you can do it. Nah. Thanks, Miss Christie.
You're welcome.
You want one?